All right, what's going on? This is Emma Willman with Go Magazine. Boom, obviously. Go Magazine's Unregulated with Emma Willman. And today I am here with Rain Dove, model, actor,
Yeah, that's it.
author, activist, so many things. Thank you for being here.
Wow, there's a lot of titles in there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm into it.
And I think I missed like 6, so.
No, it's all right.
Now, before we get back into, because I want to get like the whole like Rain Dove backstory, like Little Rain up to now, but you just got back from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Went down to North Carolina. They had the HB2 bill thing going on. That was pretty awesome. Wanted to go down and see how people were dealing with it. They
Sure.
couldn't. If you don't know what HB2 is, HB2 doesn't allow anyone to use a restroom that does not specify on their. So if it's like woman's restroom, you have to use you have to use the restroom that's reflected on your birth certificate.
Right.
So if it says female on your birth certificate, you have to use that restroom. It's illegal to go into the opposite.
Now, I'm like embarrassingly ignorant about all this stuff. I just like
Right.
haven't been paying attention as I should, which I
Yeah.
apologize like to the world, myself, my mother, like everybody. But why did this bill come about now? Like were they working on it for a while and it just came through now, or like why right now is it coming up?
Well, basically, the city of Charlotte wanted to put protections in place for transgender individuals so that they can't be discriminated against in public places.
Right.
And the city of Raleigh, unfortunately, that's where everything kind of comes to a head
Which
as
is
far
crazy
as
'cause
politics. And they were like, the government there was like, no way are we gonna let this happen? Because as you know, elections are coming around,
Right.
okay? And especially the Republican Party wants to show that they're taking a strong stance to protect the moral fiber of our people, as stated by the Lord Jesus Christ, who I don't think said anything about transgender people. For some
No.
reason, I've read the Bible a few times. It's
Didn't
the fancy
pop
version
up?
of the Bible. It's the one with the gold-colored pages. Didn't pop up anything about transgender people or really where you can defecate. That was,
Also, I think
didn't see
Jesus like would
thing.
totally transcend gender.
Oh
like
my
there's no
God.
way Jesus
He had
like
Mary Magdalene, this little slut.
Right,
No, I was
for
kidding.
sure.
But well, yeah, But basically, it came about because they just wanted to put a strong stance down as to like where the Republican Party is going to be for the elections in November, and they wanted to show that they were protecting the moral fiber of the people of North Carolina. And they originally had said that this bill was to protect women and children from getting hurt in the restroom
Right.
by guys who would pretend to be women in the restroom so that they can prey on innocent children and jack off to them. I guess that's a real chronic thing in North Carolina, apparently.
So you went down there, and how did you protest everything happening?
Oh, we did a few things. One, we went into the legislative building and we took over the restrooms for quite a while, and we did bathroom stall confessionals where people could
that's
just
great.
live stream talk, and that's going to be released soon. Is like
That's
what
great.
people are saying about this bill, and they're also talking about the good things about North Carolina because it's come a long way. It has a lot of great people in it. Don't harp on that state. It's
Totally.
actually full of awesome people. And secondly, I did a lot of research, met with a lot of individuals, and tried to find a loophole in the HB2 policy and that law and try to see if we can take it down, and we found a loophole.
What's the loophole?
All right, here's a loophole. I'm working on my pitch,
Wait, and
so
also,
bear with me.
did you find this, like, do you have a legal background, or how did you even know to, like,
No.
go through this?
Well, actually, I don't have a legal background, but I do have a background in being pissed off about things.
Right, holler.
So that is a thing. I got this psh, psh, psh
Right.
happening. A little bit of teen spirit that just never left me when I turned 20. I knew that like it wasn't enough just to be disgruntled. We had to get to the core of the issue, which was
Right.
just, how do we stop this bill? It has to be more than I'm unhappy.
Totally.
So basically, what I did was I talked to a bunch of friends of mine. One was DeJorn, who is a trans male model.
Nice.
Incredibly handsome, and they are also a law student, and so they helped me like look through everything on this bill and make sure that what I was about to say was absolutely factual. And this is it.
So key to have a
Ready?
friend like that.
It's so important.
So key.
Find like friends in your life that like you either can sleep on their couch in the future or that will help you out of things.
Right.
Dentist, very good friend to have. Lawyer,
Oh my God.
good friend. And,
Hairdresser, anything.
hairdresser, anything that
Strippers.
you spend a lot of money on, find a friend in that field.
Right.
Get them really drunk one night, take pictures of them doing shameful things, and then,
Boom.
boom. and
Legal
then be
help.
like, I'm deleting this on my own volition because I'm your friend, and then go to them when you need help.
Now help me out with my legal needs. So
Yeah.
he helped you out, and he found a loophole?
Well, no, I found a loophole.
you found a
and I
loophole.
actually went through and double checked it because you don't want to say things
Of course.
if they're not true.
That,
Um,
right.
And
I'm working on that.
it turns out that in the state of North Carolina, here's my 20-second pitch.
Okay, let's hear it.
Ready? State of North Carolina does not have a statute that allows officers to obtain your identification or seize it. So if somebody says,
Interesting.
"Hey, I want to see your ID," you don't even have to tell them your name. It's illegal for them to take it unless you are driving a vehicle or reasonably suspicious of committing a crime.
Now, how gray is the reasonably suspicious, though? Because they could say,
That-
well, you seem pretty suspicious. And I'll be like, you seem suspicious. And then I'll be
Right.
like, shit.
Well, that's the thing is that to be reasonably suspicious of
Because
committing a
I
crime,
feel like I'm
it depends on
reasonably
the crime.
suspicious.
Like if you're in a bank, right, and you have a gun in your hand, you're reasonably suspicious of probably trying to rob it. You know?
Right.
It depends on the crime. But for this
Okay.
crime, the only way you can be reasonably suspicious of committing a crime, as in like not being in the right bathroom, is if you look like you are not the right sex to be in the restroom, right?
Right.
Now here's a loophole. What does a man look like? What does a woman look like?
Right.
We are not
The
ants,
age-old
people.
question.
We're not sand. So there's no way to be reasonably suspicious because you cannot define the aesthetic of a human being.
Right.
Based off from their birth. Their birth certificate may not line up with like social norms. And in America, we're a very diverse country. So it would be unreasonable to assume that anyone is anything. Just because we have so much diversity and so much culture. And that's how the HB2 law can get shut down is now if anyone asks for your birth certificate, they have to do so with unreasonable suspicion and you can sue them for that.
Hey, that's
Hey,
great.
anyone out there in North Carolina who's had anyone ask you for your ID in the restroom, go fucking get a lawyer. You can sue the police force. You can absolutely sue. There was a
Wow.
girl who just was pulled out of the restroom for looking like a boy. Get a lawyer on the phone right now. Sue them. It is illegal what they're doing.
Now, how do people usually react to you when you go into a restroom?
Oh, I've been pepper sprayed so many times.
What?
Yeah, I actually wear contacts now. It's brutal.
Seriously?
Yeah.
A woman's pepper sprayed you? Just for you
I've been,
walk in?
I've been pepper sprayed twice. I was tased by a security guard one time in Las Vegas. I got so many free tickets to Cirque du Soleil.
That is
shows.
crazy.
Yeah, and then I was in Camden in London just a few. It sounds
Wait, so
fancy.
you just walked into, because sometimes when I walk into restrooms, someone will be
Right.
like, oh, excuse me, sir, excuse me, it's the woman's room, and I'm like, yeah, we're good, and they're like, no, it's the, and then they get confused,
Right.
and then sometimes I'll be like, yeah, no, I look like a boy, I'm gender, whatever.
But it's even like, what does a boy look like?
Right, exactly.
There's no such
True.
thing as
True.
looking like anything.
You're
There are people
right.
with long hair, short hair, skinny, curvy. You got like all kinds of like races going in the mix. I know
Right.
people will be like, oh, well, women have tits. And it's like, I have
they?
friends who have had breast cancer and they had bilateral mastectomies.
Of course.
Right? I believe that's the
Right.
correct term. And so for them, like, they have to be able to walk into the restroom. And what are they supposed to do? Like, take their pants down?
Right.
I know people who haven't changed their birth certificate from female to male, but they've gotten like what we consider to be bottom surgery done.
Right.
They could whip a full out penis right
Right.
there in the stall and still have female on their birth certificate.
Right.
Yeah.
So you walk into the restroom, and someone's just like, ah, and sprays you?
They freak out. I do look like a 6'2" white frat boy as a cause to social, specific like
You would
norms
be
of what I should be.
a
quote,
beautiful
unquote.
frat boy.
Thank you.
We're giving frat boys
Come
a lot
on.
of credit that you would be the average frat boy.
Right,
but
right.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, frats do a lot of good stuff for society. So I'm not knocking on the frat,
Totally.
story. It's a joke.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people just assume that I'm in there to creep, and then they protect themselves, and you can't be mad at them because you're like, you're protecting yourself. Like I am proud of you. You are.
But they're protecting
Amazing.
themselves a little bit trigger happy. You know what I mean? Because if you're not walking
right.
in
but
like,
they think I'm the one who's trigger happy, if you know what I mean.
right,
Yeah.
right, hey-o.
Hey.
So they pepper spray you, and then then what happens?
There's a lot of like high pitched shrieking. There's some fumbling for an ID. I don't think that tits reflect the fact that you are a male or female, but dang, it really helps that I have a
Right.
32 double D rack. Because
Wow.
that does, it does kind of put the conversation on hold for a
Right.
second. Partially because even if they do think I'm a man, they're like, anyone who can afford a boob job like that,
Right.
I better, respect them just a little bit because who knows what their connections are.
And then they must apologize
Yeah.
so profusely.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And you just have to tell them like, I'm really proud of you for standing up to yourself because that's all you can really say. Like they're protecting their bodies and themselves, but you also take an opportunity to educate them
Right.
about like, holding it for a moment. Like take the mace out for sure, but ask,
Right.
then spray.
Right.
Don't spray and then ask.
Ask and
then
spray.
Here's the
Ask
thing.
and spray.
Ask and then spray, That's
Now,
kind of thing.
so this is like a very evolved view of people and like interacting and where people are coming from. How did you get here? Were you an evolved little kid, or like where's this like is it an old soul? Where is it coming from?
How to get to the
How did you get such a compassionate way of looking at the world?
oh man, jeez.
Because you grew up in Vermont,
Yep, I did.
and I
grow
was
up in
dying
Vermont.
to ask, where in Vermont?
The Northeast Kingdom.
Okay, I don't know where that is.
Okay, well, the Northeast Kingdom is a cluster of small, basically farming communities
Nice.
that come together. And if you say one of the names, you have no idea what that place is. And the population is usually like 300 or 400 people in a town. It's one of those places where, 3 or 4 towns have to come together to go to, to form one school.
Right, that
And
was like me
then
too.
yeah.
My town was 2,000 people, and the high school had.
Oh shit, that's a city for me.
See, well, that's so crazy though, because my town was the big one, and then like we had, like the news. It was just it was nuts. Like there was
Yeah.
like just nothing happening. People just like drive around and drink. Like that was what there was to do, and
Mm.
then you'd all have to come together to have like one high school. So
That's it. And then even then, your graduating class is like 9.
Right, exactly.
You get to like do like your thank you so much for high school speech for like 20 minutes.
Right.
It's great.
Now, and when you were there, you felt like there was a quote you said you felt like an ugly girl. Were you always
Mm-hmm.
aware? Like, how were you aware of gender when you were a kid?
Well, I mean, I didn't grow up thinking that there was anything really wrong with me. I just thought that I wasn't an attractive type of girl. I wasn't the kind of girl that you would see in that movie about the girl next door.
Right.
And I wasn't the kind of girl that, was going to pull off the pretty in pink at prom and suddenly become prom queen.
Right.
But I also didn't think that I would be interested in people who have the same type of genitals as me or that.
So you had an idea of the queerness.
I didn't. I actually just was like, I didn't even think about, I just thought that sex was off the table for me.
Okay.
And in fact, I was a born again Christian for a while because then you don't have to have sex until you get married. And it
Wait,
was very
wait.
convenient.
That's what when I was in high school, I had little boyfriends, and I would tell them I was waiting until marriage to have sex. Yes.
Oh,
I would always say that.
it's always a sign.
Yeah, and my parents were so freaked out because they're like not religious at all. So my mom was like, "Where are you getting this from?" And I was like, "I don't think Jesus would want me to do this." And she's like, "Jesus who?" Like it was like
That little internal voice inside me that might be God
Right.
is actually fear.
right, exactly. Now, and when you were in high school and you had these boyfriends, did you have boyfriends in high school?
I did. I actually went to prom all 4 years of
Me
high school.
too. But when you're in a small town, you like have to in order for there to be a prom. They're like, we need everyone to go. So
Yeah.
that was my prom. I wore a pink
I was pretty
prom dress.
exclusive. There were only 3 freshmen that went to prom that year. I was one of them.
Nice.
You know.
So you had boyfriends in high school?
I did. I had boyfriends in high school. One of them had blue hair, which
Nice.
it was against the school rules to have blue hair. So I was like, "Ooh, a rebel! Like,
Right.
this person's gonna go to detention every day just to stand for what they want."
Right.
And it really turned me on. But I didn't like making out was interesting, but the rest of it just was not there.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
It was rough.
It's
It
rough.
was rough.
It
And
was-
their nickname was Cheeto.
Nice.
So-
What's up, Cheeto?
Hey, Cheeto.
Now, when did you start to like realize your queerness? Because I'm not even sure how
Mm-hmm.
you identify. You identify as queer?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people assume that I identify as lesbian, but I personally don't. I'm one of those people, and, it comes with the name Rain Dove, but I really honestly see human beings as organisms with specific genitalia. And I know what I'm into.
What are you
But,
into?
I mean, I prefer, genitals that look like vaginas. I mean,
Totally.
clitorises are easy for me to navigate.
For
I
sure.
enjoy that experience.
Right.
I enjoy breasts. I enjoy a lot of the cultural development.
I'm
that
totally
is
in
being
alignment with
Put,
this.
is totally like put on women from
Yes.
birth. So I enjoy like the fact that these people are nurturing individuals, soft individuals.
Are you attracted to more
But-
femininity or masculinity?
What we consider to be femininity,
Yeah.
that's what I'm attracted to.
Me
But
too.
I personally am open to whatever makes my heart beat. And if somebody walks into my life and they've got rippling pecs and a 20-inch dick, then like, and I feel that I love them, I'm not gonna deny my love just to be true to my lesbian
Of
team.
course.
And in order to keep myself from going in that direction, I just say like I'm attracted to people that I'm attracted to. I call it my sexuality. So when people are like, what are you? I say I'm bisexual, which means it's my body, my life, and it's my love. And I don't know if it's going to shift or change, but it's mine and it's personal, and it can't really be defined. I can't define the future. I can only, go from off the past, and I'm bisexual.
Do you have a lot of models and people like come out to you because probably being so comfortable with yourself and like gender concepts of it in general, do people then either like get uncomfortable around you because they're not analyzed themselves, or do they feel like do people like confide in you a lot? Like, I'm not really a man or a woman either, or does that happen?
I get a lot of my best friend is gay.
Oh.
I get a lot
out of context too. They're like,
I
hey,
get a
I'm
lot-
Barbara, my
yeah.
friend's gay, and you're like, all right.
Or sometimes I get a lot of things like, oh, I've made out with a girl before. Or, sometimes, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to come across as not PC, but I'm going to say it.
Safe space, man.
Sometimes being queer in this industry feels like I have a disability.
Totally.
People give you special treatment, and it's both beneficial and detrimental.
I know exactly what you mean, because sometimes, like, when I walk out on stage, the audience will be like, they're almost too with it. They're like, yeah, I agree with this message. Or they're like uncomfortable, and then I'm having to like work extra hard to build a bridge. Or the happy place for me, the real progress is when I just go out and I'm just like any other performer. But
Right.
that's not always the case. I mean, that's like 40% of the time, then whatever the math is for good and bad on the other end. So
Yeah.
I completely relate with that.
Yeah, and it's definitely like a very strange thing, because just like a lot of my friends with disabilities would say, like, some of those special protections are definitely really needed, special accommodations are needed, but the special announcements, they can be beneficial because they do get you a little more press, they do get
Right.
you a little out there, or using you as a gimmick. Like my friend Jillian Mercado was the first model to ever do runway in a wheelchair. And basically, she's like, the accommodations are great, and
Runway in a
but-
wheelchair?
yeah, you got to interview her sometime. She's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But just that it was also a little bit detrimental because it turned her into a gimmick and a niche.
Right.
And also it didn't show people that she was equal.
Right.
And that's the thing, is like, I don't want to be a gimmick. I know that people think, oh, well, you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't want to be special, but I want to be
And you
known-
are special, but not for those reasons.
Right. I want to be special because I'm Rain Dove. I do what I do. I don't want to be special because I rub my niblets on similar niblets.
Right.
Or because
Are you into that niblet rubbing?
yeah, niblet rubbing, I'm
Yeah.
into it, just because I like somebody who has the similar genitals, or
Right.
just because I have my hair short or muscular. I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known for what I do, not who I do.
Right.
That's really important.
Totally. Now I got a question. Rain has you've got a mark on your arm. What is
Here
the
it is.
story behind the mark?
Well, I did have a warehouse that allowed low-income artists to stay for free, to help them get their start in New York City, because when I first started here, I did start off homeless.
Wow.
And I wanted people to have an opportunity that I didn't have, because I was staying in a shower stall, and it really derailed my
Yes, you were
career for
staying-
almost a year.
You were staying at a Planet Fitness.
Planet
Sleeping
Fitness.
in the shower.
Sleeping in the
You
shower.
were sleeping in the shower for a year?
No, I stayed in the shower for about almost a month, like 3.5 weeks.
What
during
would you
Fashion
think
Week.
about, like, right before you went to bed? Were you like, someday I'm going to get out of this? Or, like, how did you keep hope?
Well, I really honestly thought that once you were signed and became a model, that you would make a lot of money. I
Right.
thought that runway models made like $10,000 a show, and I thought my dreams would come true and everything was fixed. And it turned out it wasn't true. And just that situation, it took me months and months and months to get on my feet after
How did
Fashion
no one
Week.
see you in the shower?
I would stay. So it was Planet Fitness, and they had like two.
Shout outs to Planet Fitness.
They had 2 universally accessible shower stalls, and then 3 regular shower stalls. And I would stay in one of the universally accessible shower stalls from midnight until 5 a.m. when there was no cleaning crew. And I slept on the bench. The
Wow.
bench part in the shower, and I'd run the water a little bit. I'm sorry, Mother Nature.
Right.
And I'd leave my shoes outside so people knew I was in there. No one's gonna be like, "Hey, they've been showering for too long."
Right.
And I would sleep in there, and you just go to bed and you just say, "I'm here. This is gonna be worth it." And you have to really pursue your thing. But anyway, warehouse I created so that people don't have to go through the same experience, and you can stay there for 2 weeks for free. And
This is happening right now.
This did happen.
This did happen.
And then due to regentrification, our building got shut down, and we were evicted. And I had put so much money and time into this thing, and they gave us 2 weeks notice to be evicted. And I was really upset. So I had a birthday bash because they said, leave this place in the condition that you found it. And when we got it, it was full of junk and stuff. I had turned it, just like a proper lesbian as a joke, into a 5-bedroom apartment. It was like an
course.
empty warehouse, and I put in plumbing, electricity, rooms, everything. And basically I had a birthday bash because we got evicted the day after my birthday. And I invited everyone to come in and break in the walls that we had built because they
Nice.
weren't part of the original structure. And it was the first time I'd ever really acted out of anger and immaturity. And while I was doing it, I did drink a little bit of bourbon with my friends. I was devastated that this opportunity was going to be taken away from all these people, and I was breaking walls. And
You
I
were literally pow!
pow!
Wow.
I was like into it. I was mad, and I punched a window out of one of the glass doors, and I got this beautiful
Wow.
scar right here. And I almost died. I was rushed to the hospital, bled out, and all the jazz, and they had to do the thing, and everyone came together and helped clean everything up. And over the next few days, I thought about it, and I'd never acted out of anger like that. And I thought about if I had left that structure, the other people who could have enjoyed it.
Right.
And so
wow.
I got the opportunity to get a plastic surgeon who offered for free to fix this scar. Everyone thought it would end my modeling career because it looks too close to a suicide scar.
Right.
And I went in to go to my appointment, and while I was in the waiting room, I decided that I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't get it removed.
Good for you.
I thought about all the people who have scars, and they're a part of your journey. They're part of who you are and what you've been through. And this is a reminder every day that no matter how angry you are, you have to educate, not hate. You have to move forward with peaceful intentions. You can't lash out in anger and immaturity. You have to find a solution, and there's always a solution. And that's why my new hashtag, everyone has a hashtag. Elliot Sailors is BUBeTrue. And Sean Ross, it's In My Skin I Win. My hashtag is Educate, Don't Hate.
Nice.
And it's just encouraging people to take a breath and find a way to cut something at the base. Find a way to
What do you do when you
dismantle
get mad? Like, how do you
it. I sit down and I think about why I'm angry.
Oh my God! Every girlfriend of mine that's great advice, Rain. Yeah.
And I realized that having passion, having feeling is a very incredible gift. I used to be a wilderness firefighter, and I
Right.
did have an experience that pretty much I thought that was going to be it. That's why I have that little bald line on the side of my head.
Right.
And I think about it's such an incredible feeling to be alive.
Yes.
The fact that you can feel at all beyond just wanting food, shelter, water, and basic physical safety, that is incredible.
Yes.
And there are so many people who have no feeling at all. And why do you feel so
just
important that you can
accept the
feel
anger.
emotional? Yeah. And you have to look at it. You have to say, you know why I'm angry? Because I passionately want to be happy.
Right. Or I'm scared. A lot of my anger comes from fear.
Well, fear is just like the fear that you're not going to be happy or safe.
Right.
So it all comes down to happiness and positivity. So you have to think about, what do I want out of this? And what I want is to be happy and safe again.
Right.
So you have to be solution oriented. And you have to think, what is causing this, and how can I communicate about it?
Right.
And
And not call anyone
Right.
a bitch or an idiot.
Exactly. I always say, the solution can be found in the sound, not the noise.
Word.
So you have to really hear what people are saying, and beyond hear them, just understand why they're saying it, and there will be a solution that's found. It's going to take some time. Not everything is instant,
Word.
Not everything is Facebook.
Now not everything is Facebook.
I grew up with the name Danielle.
Oh,
Rain
got it.
Dove is my name.
Got it.
But my parents thought that was a name I could enjoy when I get a little older, and they were concerned that when I was in school I get picked on, but they thought that was a very important part of my heritage, which is Native American.
Nice.
But they just were like, be careful about using that around people because you'll get beat up.
Totally.
So my mom's name was Donna the Flower. She's an incredible herbalist, naturopathic doctor, holistic healer, working off from the barter system, living in upstate New York. 2 miles.
With your dad.
Nope.
Okay.
Divorced.
Nice.
Living in the middle of the woods, 2 miles away from anywhere in a log cabin, no electricity. Everything is oil lamps. My mom splits her own 5 cords of firewood for the winter time. She's tiny little blonde hair, blue-eyed, bombshell, and she's just a badass. My mom she hikes 2 miles in the winter on snowshoes every time she wants to go in and out of her cabin.
And are they pumped up about entertainment, or how do they feel about this?
At first, both people had their concerns. My mom had a concern that if I were to be famous, that it would come out that I'm gay, and then it would cause
Surprise!
my grandparents to have a heart attack.
Did your grandparents not know?
My grandmother actually, she was one of both my grandparents. I came out to them before I came out to my parents. And they were
Whoa.
so chill. They were like, cool, that's great. As long as you love yourself and you're kind to yourself, we're into it.
Nice.
But my mom is concerned about the gay factor, just, harming my
Even
conservative
though
family.
she is okay with you being gay?
It took her a little bit because I think she was concerned about me having a rough life.
Totally.
There's also a little bit of misunderstanding. My mom's a very, very, very liberal person, but we don't have a lot of LGBT individuals in the Northeast Kingdom.
For sure.
And there was a lot of pressure for her to to conform to a Christian lifestyle.
Right.
And she wasn't super Christian at all, but her parents were, and her family was, and it was a very difficult time. It was a very difficult time, and it turned out that the thing that brought her closer to her family than ever was actually accepting this and just
Isn't that
being
so
like,
interesting?
you either like me or you don't like me. You like
Right.
my daughter or you don't. And they were like, well, we love you guys, and like that brought everyone closer together.
Sometimes it's that pain point that you think is going to be the worst thing ever that like refreshingly surprises you and like brings it all together, and you're like, you
Right.
never, What advice would you give for someone that is interested in getting into modeling but maybe doesn't necessarily fit the typical mold of a model, whatever that is?
Okay, well, there's no typical mold. Modeling comes down to two things. One is common, which means that if you just look like the common mannequin, I'm just sad to say, but it's true. And the other one is marketability. If you don't fit the common mold, then find your story, share it with people, get them on board. Because if you can get people to support you by being a follower on your social media, they are basically vouching for your marketability, saying if you were to be in a commercial or you were to be on a runway,
Right, I'll tune
then
in.
I will tune in. I will buy that product. I will do that thing. Because if you can't be pretty, you got to be popular. And that's a joke, but I'm serious.
Right.
Like, that's the only way I get any work. I've gone into castings where I got the job, but they called me ugly, or they said, "Why are you
To
in
your
here?"
face?
To my face. Or
How
they-
does that? They just like, oh, ugly.
Well, they're just like, we're looking to hire more of a prettier girl, and you're kind of street,
Right.
or
Whew.
they put that in there or you're very edgy,
Right.
and you're by edgy they're saying like, well, we're hiring like a pretty girl, but you're kind of edgy for what we need, or you're aesthetically you're definitely a risk.
Right.
That's a big one I get a lot. And it's like, okay, well, I have to show them that, if they have me, that I have 100,000 people that
Right.
are on my platform that will watch. These are new consumers who would never buy their product, probably boycott their product.
Right.
And in fact, a quick plug out to Illamasqua. I'm going to be doing I just barely finished shooting in London, the Illamasqua cosmetic campaign. And I'll be in
Awesome.
Mary Claire next
Cool.
week
That's
on
great.
an
That's
interview.
huge.
And it's a women's cosmetic campaign, so it's like a bunch of like really cute, like long-haired, like 19 and 20-year-olds, and then there's this face,
Boom.
and it's for like lipstick and eyeshadow and stuff like that. But
That's great.
people are changing, and it's important that we educate, don't hate, like tell people why we should change. Put your money
Yeah.
where your mouth is,
And we're gonna
and get them to do that.
and because we're just gonna wrap it up. Where can people like find you so they can like follow you and support this movement of educate, don't hate?
What? Rain Dove is my name. You can find me on any social media platform just by typing that in. Rain Dove Model on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Periscope. And then on Facebook, it's Rain Dove.
And what's your favorite social media platform?
Instagram is my most powerful
Cool.
social media platform, but if you want to hear what I have to say, you go to Facebook.
Okay.
If you just want to see pictures and you don't want to deal with me blabbing on about politics and changing stuff, then go to Instagram. And if you want to see incriminating photos of me making out with people that are, just kidding. Yeah, but no, seriously, Snapchat.
Awesome. So look them up on all of those things, and thank you so much for coming in and talking with me and Go Magazine.
What? Go.